He was considered as the weakest hunter in the world, but after almost dying in a dungeon, he gains the unique ability to level up, which allows him to become the strongest. 10 years earlier, mysterious gates started appearing all over the world, releasing countless monsters, and they were immune to conventional weapons, so humanity struggled against them. But a group of humans awakened special powers, allowing them to defeat the monsters, and they became known as the Hunters. They're given rankings based on their abilities, and we learn that once their powers awaken, it's impossible for them to level up. So the only way for them to get stronger is to upgrade their equipment. We see a hunter named Kim as a man named Park approaches him, revealing that his wife is pregnant, so he needs to make money by raiding the dungeon. They notice a boy named Jinwoo approaching, and everyone greets him, as Park wonders if he's someone important. But we learn that he's only an E-rank hunter, and he's considered as the weakest in the world because he was almost killed. While trying to clear the easiest dungeon, a girl named Juhi approaches him, wondering what happened to his face. So he explains that he got injured while raiding a ranky dungeon because there was no healer in their party, saying his companions were so strong that they didn't need one. But Juhi thinks that they're selfish, but he blames himself for being weak, saying he's used to being treated as a burden. The leader, Songki, calls them for a meeting, and everyone is glad to work with him because he's known as a capable hunter. They're about to enter the gate, as Kim tells Jinwoo to be careful, thinking he might get injured again. We learn that he's using a generic knife as his weapon, because that's all he can afford. But he's determined to succeed, and he enters the gate. We meet the chairman Gun-hee, as he reveals that hunters make profit by selling essence stones, which can be obtained by defeating monsters, and they're considered as valuable resources because they can be used to craft powerful equipment. He adds that mana crystals can also be obtained in the dungeon, and they serve the same purpose, but they're not as potent as the stones. The government plans to use the stones and crystals as a new power source because they're incredibly efficient and they don't pollute the atmosphere. We return to Jinwoo as he obtains his first essence stone, but a goblin attacks him, so he tries to fight back. But his knife shatters and he ends up getting stabbed. Park kills the goblin and Joey helps Jinwoo, who watches as their companions defeat the monsters. They're able to defeat the dungeon boss, and everyone celebrates. But Juhi wonders why Jinwoo is still a hunter, saying she's worried about him because he always gets injured. They collect the loot, but they appear to be disappointed, thinking it's not enough, but a hunter calls everyone, showing them a tunnel, as they realize that it's a double dungeon. They know that they will find more loot inside, but Songki reveals that they can't explore it because they need to wait for orders from the Hunters Association. But Kim suggests breaking the rules so that they can collect the loot. Songki thinks it's too risky, saying they should take a vote, but half of them oppose the idea, including Juhi. Jinwoo is the only one that hasn't voted, and he's going to break the tie, so he realizes that his decision is going to affect the outcome. He considers that he could end up dying, but he thinks about his current situation, knowing his father is missing, and his mother is in the hospital. His sister can't help him because she's still a student, so it's up to him to provide for her, knowing he needs the money to make ends meet, so he decides to enter the tunnel. Meanwhile, the officials are testing the powers of the new hunters to determine their rankings. We meet the guild master of the Hunters Guild, Choi, as he orders the officials to send offers to promising newbies because they need more hunters in the guild. We see thieves stealing a bag, and they're about to escape, but a girl gets in the way, retrieving the bag and causing them to crash. She returns it to the owner, and everyone recognizes her as the S-rank hunter Hye-in, but she doesn't like getting the public's attention, so she escapes from the scene. Back in the dungeon, the hunters explore the tunnel, as Juhi questions Jinwoo's decision, reminding him that he almost died. He knows that she saved his life, and she tells him to show his gratitude by having dinner with her, causing him to become flustered. At that moment, they see a door, thinking the boss must be inside. But as they enter it, they realize that it's filled with statues, and Jinwoo sees one of them, realizing that it's bigger than the others, as everyone wonders why there are no monsters. They see an ancient tablet, which mentions the commandments of the temple, and Songki reads it, revealing that it's telling them to worship and praise God and prove their faith to him, or they won't be able to leave the room alive. But Juhi notes that the huge statue appears to be watching them, and the door suddenly closes, causing everyone to panic. A hunter tries to leave, saying they shouldn't have entered the tunnel, but a statue attacks him, killing him in an instant, and everyone falls into despair, wondering how they're supposed to escape. Jinwoo thinks that the statues are too strong to be in a D-rank dungeon, and he looks at the huge statue, realizing that it's watching them. He recalls how he always has a brush with death during his raids, because he can't keep up with the other hunters. But he never gave up, and he learned to compensate for his weakness by observing everything in detail. He can tell that they're in trouble, so he tells everyone to take cover, as the statue fires an energy beam, destroying everything in its path. Everyone realizes that their lives are in danger, and Songki tells everyone not to move because it could trigger another attack. He approaches Jinwoo, wondering how he was able to sense the danger. He explains that it was just a gut feeling, but he realizes that Songki lost his arm, and he tells Jinwoo to help him stop the bleeding. So Jinwoo covers him with bandages, as he mentions that he was planning to ask for Ju Yi's help, but she always freaks out when she experiences pressure, and this explains why she only joins easy raids, despite being a B-rank healer. Songki explains that he's been to B-rank dungeons, but he's never seen a monster as powerful as the statue, thinking it belongs to an S-rank dungeon. He recalls the commandments written on the tablet, and Jinwoo thinks that the huge statue is God. Songki knows that they're no match for it, so they need to find a way to escape. But a hunter mentions that he doesn't want to die, and he charges forward with ridiculous speed, but the statue attacks him, destroying him in an instant. Jinwoo realizes that it can kill them if it wanted to, wondering why it isn't attacking them. He recalls the writing on the tablet, asking Songki about it, so he mentions that the first commandment is to worship God. Jinwoo thinks that the dungeon has its own rules, and he stands up as Songki tries to stop him, thinking he could get himself killed. But Song Jinwoo realizes that he is determined to survive, and the statue of God prepares to attack him, but he bows his head, as he notes that it spared his life. So he tells everyone to prostrate themselves, saying it won't attack them if they keep their heads low. They follow his instructions, and the statue's eyes deactivate, but it suddenly starts smiling, so everyone becomes worried. But Park notes that it isn't doing anything, and everyone thinks they're safe, but it suddenly starts moving, walking towards them as they start to panic. Jinwoo reminds them that the second commandment is to praise God, and a man approaches the statue, claiming he knows what to do. He starts reciting a prayer, but it smiles at him, as Jinwoo realizes that his plan isn't working. He gets crushed to death, and everyone starts running away. As it chases after them, Park thinks about his family, knowing they're waiting for him to return. But he approaches a statue, and it starts moving, slicing him in half. Jinwoo thinks about the second commandment, realizing that the statues with weapons are killing his companions, and he sees statues with instruments, thinking they need to be activated. So he tells everyone to approach them. They follow his instructions, and the statues start playing the instruments, causing them to feel relieved because their lives have been spared. Jinwoo approaches a statue with Juhi, but it doesn't activate, and he realizes that it won't work if there are two people close to it. So he tells Juhi to stay there, and he runs to activate the last one, but the statue of God starts pursuing him. It's about to crush him to death, and he manages to avoid it, but he gets blown away, activating another statue by accident. It attacks him, smashing the ground, and Juhi thinks he's dead, but we see him crawling to the last one, refusing to give up. As the statue of God continues to pursue him, it stomps on him, but the last statue starts singing, and we see that he was able to activate it. So the statue of God spares him, returning to its throne as he realizes that they have completed the second commandment. Juhi approaches him, but she realizes that he lost his leg, so she tries to heal him, but she ends up reaching her limit. Everyone realizes that their companions are dead, and Kim blames Songki for everything because he's the leader of the group. Their companions think Kim is being unfair because he suggested breaking the rules, and they start blaming each other. But Songji takes responsibility because he was the one who made the final call. An altar suddenly appears, as Jinwoo explains that the third commandment is to prove their faith to God, thinking they need to perform a human sacrifice to survive. Kim tells Songki to offer his life because he's the leader of the group, and he agrees to this. So he approaches the altar, but a fire suddenly appears, so everyone becomes confused, and Jinwoo tells them to help him reach the altar because he wants to examine it. As they approach it, more flames appear, and Jinwoo wonders if anyone will arrive to rescue them. But Songji explains that the gate is about to fully open, so nobody will be able to save them. We learn that a gate remains inactive for 7 days after it appears. But after that period, monsters will be able to enter the world in what's known as a dungeon break. So hunters are sent into the gate to prevent it from happening by defeating the dungeon boss. And Jinwoo realizes that if they fail, the statue of God will be able to enter their world. So they need to clear the dungeon at all costs. He advises everyone to approach the altar, and more flames appear as the altar activates, causing a ring of blue flames to surround it. The door opens as everyone wonders if they can leave. But the statues start moving as a blue flame disappears. Everyone panics, but Jinwoo notes that the statues stop when he looks at them, and he tells everyone to keep their eyes open so that the statues won't be able to move. It appears to be working, but one of them panics and she starts running away, causing a red flame to disappear. She manages to leave the room, and everyone wonders what's happening because the commandment is to prove their faith. Jinwoo thinks it's a trap, but another one runs away, so he warns the others that they will have blind spots if more people leave. He thinks the blue flames serve as the timer, and the goal is to survive until they disappear. But Kim knows he isn't sure, because he has no evidence to support his theory. Kim thanks him for helping them survive, but he mentions that he has a family waiting for him, and he decides to run away. Jinwoo realizes that they can't stop all of the statues, and Songki tells Juhee to escape with Jinwoo, but her legs stop moving because she has already spent all of her energy. So Jinwoo tells Songji to escape with her, saying he won't be able to run away because he only has one leg, and he gives her an essence stone, telling her to use it to buy dinner. She doesn't want to leave him, but Songji knocks her out and carries her away. Jinwoo is the only one left, knowing he doesn't stand a chance, but he takes a sword, planning to fight until his last breath. But the statues attack him, blowing him away, and he ends up losing an arm. He endures a brutal beatdown, and he lands on the altar as a statue prepares to strike him down. He notes that he doesn't want to die, so he starts crying, but the timer expires as he receives a system message asking him if he wants to become a player. Did you enjoy the recap? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.